Welcome to week 38 of Ring Talk, the weekly Goodwin boxing show with myself, Martin Theobald, and Steve Goodwin, off the back of a show at Tottenham at the weekend.
Yeah.
Busy?
Busy enough. I mean, it's well, I think we're going to cover the venue and why the show happened there later on, so we'll just talk about the boxing for now. Jumaane Camero defended his Southern Area title against Jervier Ofori.
Yeah.
Lost. I mean, Jervier was the best fighter on the night.
So no complaints from your side?
Absolutely none. I mean, there is a difference. Just to go explain why you take the certain fights to certain fights, I think people would be very interested to understand this. Jumaane does not sell a ticket.
Yeah.
So when I say very few tickets, he's not a ticket seller by any stretch of the imagination. So therefore you have to take a fight against somebody where it makes some financial sense on the show. So Jervier Ofori would never have been the ideal selected opponent, but he was the viable opponent, if you follow me.
So how does that work then? Is the onus on Jeffrey to sell tickets in that scenario, or?
Well, yeah, basically Jeffrey earned good money out of the fight. Jumaane earned okay money out of the fight.
Right.
But the point is, you can't. There's no point. I couldn't give somebody an actual purse against Jumaane because there's just no possible way.
Yeah.
So it's a very difficult scenario managing a fighter that doesn't sell tickets at this level.
Yeah. And
it's something I say to all boxers: create a fan base. It makes my job much easier when we get to title fights, because if you want, for example, a fighter to build a platform towards TV, they've got to go through the Southern Area and the English levels before, realistically, many TV companies are going to take them.
Yeah.
So if you can't sell tickets, you're not going to get the ideal pathway through. And Jumaane, listen, to win a Southern Area title for him was above anybody's expectations, but to retain it under those circumstances was always going to be difficult. But nobody will ever take away that he was Southern Area champion. For Jervier Ofori, I think he's got a very exciting style. He's a very, very decent boxer, and I think going forward he'll be involved in many more exciting fights, and who knows how far he can go. But he's a real quality fighter, and he's got high work rate, high intensity. He's a very nice guy. I wish Jeffrey all the best, and there's no complaints from us.
Yeah,
on
he's a British Warriors fighter, isn't he, Jeffrey?
Yeah. Mo Pryor was there, very good to deal with. You don't have to have wars with people because there are other promoters, other managers. I mean, Mo was fine, get on well with him. You've got to do the right thing. It was the right fight for Jumaane, it was the right fight for Jeffrey, and we staged the fight. Another time it'll be on Mo Pryor show, if that suits us better. But same thing with Lee Eaton, where we've got his fighters on our show fighting our champions, and I think it's just very important that you do that, and then you don't have to fall out with everybody.
Nobody needs a cold war, do they? You've got enough difficulties already of getting lads, selling tickets, selling shows. You've all got shows going on. The last thing you need is to fall out with one another.
Exactly. I mean, but I've got to do the right thing. Now, if Jumaane Camero was a ticket seller, he wouldn't have fought Jervier Ofori.
Right.
So I just want to get that across. So that's why these fights happen. So that's why I say to all young boxers, let's get your marketing correct. Let's get the fans behind you. Build up your fan base, because it makes my job and our path a lot easier towards a TV contract.
Yeah.
So that was Jumaane against Jeffrey, but Jumaane will come back and fight again. So he's a warrior. He just doesn't care who he fites, where he fights.
He doesn't, does he? I mean, the fact he fought Freddie Kawit at welterweight.
He just wants to fight now and just get them fighting. So the problem for Jumaane is he's quite happy to go in the away corner and fight, but he's who needs him club in terms of his style. So it's not that easy to get him the fights that he wants. So that's another difficulty.
And also he's a tough man, tough man.
Which ticket sellers are going to want to fight him?
Yeah.
And he probably, because he's lost his Southern Area, he doesn't qualify for 10-round titles as such. So it's a difficult problem. I'll do my best I can, but it's very difficult when you've got a non-ticket seller who people don't want to fight because of their style and how tough they are, and how good he is at that sort of thing. I mean, Jervier Ofori happens to be a way above average fighter. He'll definitely compete for an English level without a doubt.
Yeah.
Second one was Curtis Felix, Justin Menzie in an eliminator for the Southern Area title. Again, the right result. Curtis Felix beat Justin and had that. I think Justin's 35. I think Curtis was the younger, fresher man in there. And he was a worthy winner, and I thought he showed again that he can go on to a higher level. And Justin, there was no disgrace in his performance. And I spoke to Justin on Sunday. I said, if you decide to call it a day, that's fine. You make a brilliant coach. If you want to carry on and have one or two more fights, maybe higher profile, then I'll get them for you as well. But that's something Justin will decide over the next week or two. So that was good. Bradley Spencer recorded his 3rd straight win, beat Lewis Van Pooch. He looked good for 2 rounds, got a little bit tired.
Did he damage his eye?
Yeah, damaged his eye, so that may have been the thing. He was very effective in rounds 1 and 2, not so effective in rounds 3 and 4. Dean Richardson, who's just, he looks very good, and I'm not sure, he can go quite a way, Dean.
First fight under Gary Logan.
He looked impressive, but he's fighting Arvidas Trisno, who's been in with everybody. Very tough man, but Dean looked good. He outboxed him, won every round, so you can't complain with that. Frankie Phillips on his debut beat Jamie Spate. Frankie, again, looks like he could be a really good pro, but has got a lot of amateur style still about him. So it's John Cole will obviously move him on and build him forward from that. But he will be, I think he'll make a really good pro. Yeah. But he needs to obviously, he's going to have to make that transition. Dave Abraham returned after nearly 2 years out, now goes 6-0 as a heavyweight. So he's going to be back out on the 1st of December.
Okay.
There's a lot to work on with Dave still. He's a work in progress. They're going to keep him active, and as you know, heavyweights, if you just keep building them and building them and building them, it does lead towards big opportunities.
Someone always needs a heavyweight.
Exactly. Dalton Miller, unfortunately, got the wrong end of result against Dwayne Grant. It was a very close fight. Dalton was a journeyman. He's put together a run of 3 wins. That's been brought to an abrupt end here. I had him slightly nicking it. Others didn't. It was very close. But if he was really going places, he had to win that fight. Yeah. I'm not saying he can't resurrect it. I think he's going to drop down a weight. But
Dwayne Grant's not a bad fighter, is he? Dwayne Grant beat Richie Gray, didn't he, on the MTK show?
But Dalton wanted the Southern Area title fight. If you're going to do that, you've got to, he's had the 3 normal journeymen. Now he's had an upmarket journeyman, if you want to call it. So that's your tester to whether you're ready to go on. His output wasn't high enough.
Yeah.
It was a shame because he went up from 4 to 6, and that was his undoing, because he was, I would say he was clearly winning after 4. It was the last 2 rounds that he definitely lost round 5 and probably drew round 6. And Robbie Chapman, he beat Calamide. Again, Robbie, he done well, but he's in his infancy of the program. So
it's only his 2nd fight, wasn't it?
Only his 2nd fight. So overall, we've had 2 really good title fights. Unfortunately, had an upset. And some other good prospects on offer. So that was a summary of the Tottenham Show.
And what about Robbie's ring entrance? I've heard about. I didn't actually get down to the show, but I heard about his ring entrance.
It was a good ring entrance.
Yeah, gets the old broom out because he's the Camden caretaker. Sweeps his way down to the ring.
Very good.
Yeah, I like Robbie. He's doing some really good things, like social media wise, and building a profile.
He's got a good girl behind him, Sophia Balmick, she's very, very good on the commercial aspects. Yeah, and she's got some good ideas, and she's a really nice person as well. So she's helping him a lot. So that gives him a big. And again, she's new to boxing. They're making some mistakes together, making some good decisions together, but they're working together.
If you throw a lot of stuff up in the air though, and see what works.
Some come off, some don't. So it's great.
Should we touch on the questions from Tottenham? I haven't printed any out because I've been at home decorating all day. So my levels of professionalism are lower than usual.
It was our 2nd show in 2 weeks at Tottenham. I missed the 1st one, obviously I did the 2nd.
So we've got a question from Paul Oltard. It's been covered, I know, in various places, but what was Steve's personal thoughts on the venue, given this is the first time you've seen the boxing actually taking place? I'm sure you visited it and scouted it. When needs must, that was his only option, I know, but were you happy or disappointed?
Right, let's get real. We have high standards of our shows. We have the lighting system, the tunnels, the speaker systems at York Hall, and which sets us apart from everybody else that does smaller hall shows. So let's put it there. And I think it's like no different than if I was a single man and I'm pulling and I pull when I pull really good looking girls, right? Yeah. And I turn up one night with a bit of an ugly one, and somebody says, "What the fuck are you doing with the ugly one?" Because I'm used to being with good looking ones, right? Yeah. Now, doesn't mean that the ugly one's that ugly really, but she's just the norm. But I'm so used to me being with dollies, right? Now, the same things about this venue, right? Up and down the country, week in, week out, all small hall boxing, the majority is done in small hall sports centres. Yeah. So that would be very, very similar to 80 to 90% of small hall shows around the country in these sports halls. Now, that's what we have to accept. Now, we like to do better venues and do it better. But we had a thing with Joshua Povetkin. We had to pull the kids off that date. No dates at York Hall, Friday, Saturday or Sunday available. We had to go and find a venue, so we had to put the shows on. Would it be my ideal venue to stage boxing shows? No. Would I use it again if it was desperate for boxers to get out? Yes.
So it'll never be the number one choice.
No, but it is there as a venue if we need to use it for the boxers. Now, I promoted those shows myself. I lost money doing those shows. There was an 8-fight card, a 9-fight card. You cannot make money doing 8, 9-fight cards. Yeah. You cannot do it. And let me just tell you that the venue cost is higher than York Hall. Right? So that tells you how desperate we were to stage these shows. So I'd done my money, put the shows on. But the bottom line is, if next time, you know, then people think, well, you shouldn't do those shows, then next time we'll leave the I'm just thinking about what the stick we'd have got. All those boxers, there was, what, 17 of them, being told, you can't really get out, you've got to delay. The guys that were in November, December, you've got to delay, and delayed all boxers' careers. But doing that, we've gone to a normal show like everybody else, and I think we should be applauded for doing that and doing our money, rather than criticised for the fact that we've had to go to a venue that's in line with most other venues in the UK, because we put the boxers first and done it, rather than it doesn't fit our criteria normally. So yeah, we're not totally enamoured with the venue, but if the same circumstances happen again, I would use it. Alright,
there we go, hope that clears that one up. One on the back of somebody who was there at the weekend, Daniel Smith.
Yeah.
Thanks again for the tickets, Steve. It's nice of you, Daniel.
Yeah.
It turned out Chris Congo's manager was sat next to me, which would be Mo Pryor.
Yeah.
He said no one wants to fight Chris, but a guy I spoke to in the bar spars Curtis Felix and said Felix would be happy to fight him. With Felix winning, is it a fight you're looking at?
Well, let's go on to nobody wanting to fight Chris Congo. Right, so let's deal with this first.
Is it a myth?
I tell you what, John O'Donnell's back in the gym. He'll fight Chris Congo.
Okay, that'd be an interesting
John O'Donnell will be fit in 7 weeks' time. John O'Donnell will fight Chris Congo, provided you pay him well enough. So he'll fight him.
That'd be an interesting fight.
No problem, he'll do it. John O'Donnell will fight Chris Congo. So it's
and he's rusty at the moment as well. Get him now.
But he'll come straight out and fight Chris Congo in his first fight. But Chris Congo himself is a boxer of high quality, who's English level and above, in my opinion.
Which I don't think anyone doubts his ability.
But you're putting him in as a manager in the Southern area level, right? Offering Southern area money, if there's been any offers, to fight somebody who's far above that level.
Yeah.
Now, come on. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Offer money that you would get for an English title, and people will step forward and fight Chris Congo.
Yeah.
Or make the deals. Now, Mo Pryor has got 2 fighters in the same weight category, Chris Congo and Jez Smith. Put them together.
Yeah.
Fight each other.
And you would get the board.
No, board will sanction it, but Mo doesn't want to do it. So they don't want to put the 2 fight, or the boxers don't want to do it. So they won't fight each other. So now it looks like Chris Congo's going to move on, and they're going to install Jez Smith as mandatory.
Right.
Same thing. Jez Smith's English will fight. Put them together, find out who's the best. Why not? Because the financial rewards are not enough. If the financial rewards are enough, why would you expect somebody else to step in and do it when you won't do it with your own fighters?
Yeah.
And let's be honest, with us, when we get a situation like that, we put our fighters in together because they fight and they earn the money and they move on.
So how does that get resolved then? Like, we'll use Chris as an example.
Yeah.
It could be anyone, but we'll use him as an example.
Look at Deion Jumah. Deion Jumah would be the same level as Chris Congo.
Yeah.
But we've made a fight for him.
Yeah, that's true, and I know what it is. The Chris Congo one, how does that get resolved? If you're not going to use, say, the Jez Smith opponent, then are they waiting on, I don't know, Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn to, I don't know, say Josh Kelly, Commonwealth title defence, will take Chris Congo now? Is it waiting on that? And in the meantime, having to just get random opponents that don't necessarily add value to what his career's doing?
Well, that's down to Chris Congo and his management team. I'm not going to tell Mo how to do his job. But let it be known, I've never had a problem with being able to get my fighters through different avenues of levels. But I understand his problem, I understand his pain, but you've got to find a way. But now you've got the same thing with Jez Smith.
Yeah.
Because you're not putting them together, you don't want to, you can't expect other people to fight for crap money against these guys that are a level above the Southern area.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Moving on to Curtis Felix and misinformation. Curtis Felix is actually a super lightweight, not a welterweight, who has been fighting at welterweight to get fights. Curtis Felix will now drop to super lightweight. So I don't know who you're speaking to, but it doesn't really matter who you're speaking to. Boxers will fight anybody. My job as manager is to find the right opportunities, And I have made a fight for Curtis Felix that I'm working on at the moment, and I'm hoping to finalise that in the next 48, 72 hours.
And it's probably fair. Curtis Felix probably has said, I'll fight Chris Congo.
Listen, for sure.
He probably said, I'll fight Joshua.
But David Abraham, a heavyweight Saudi, if you said to him, will you fight Deontay Wilder, he'll say yes.
Yeah.
No, the point is, number one, the fight's not going to happen, or David Abraham will say, let's be more realistic, I'll fight Nathan Gorman.
Yeah.
But he's not going to fight Nathan Gorman, because my job's to stop it.
Yeah.
Because it's not the right fight for him at this moment in time. So it's great that Curtis Felix wants to fight him, but my job as manager is to make sure the fighters fight the right fights. So Chris Congo is not going anywhere because they're not matching with Jez Smith and they're just trying to navigate the two forward. But it's not. But you're not going to find a little fall guy to walk in and be knocked over for no money.
There's an interesting one on the back of something you just said there about it's your job. We'll do one more question and we'll move on to some other bits. A question from @thefellowboss on Twitter. Do promoters, and I'm gonna use promoters / managers, even though he hasn't put it, care for boxers, or are they just a commodity? Say, putting Dave Allen in with Dillian White and Luis Ortiz, Price in with the Russians, should it get to a stage that promoter stops offering the fighters fights, or is it the responsibility with the manager and the trainer to protect the fighter?
Right, the answer is, question one, I think this is in different segments. Do promoters really care about fighters or treat them as commodities? Do you want my honest opinion? Is that generally they care about them while they're making the money.
Yep.
And as soon as they are sliding and not making the money, they don't care about them anymore.
Yep.
That's a generalisation of the majority of promoters stroke some managers. I don't want to be generalising too much, but I would say that is pretty general. But I'm going to come on to something just back. Keep the second point on. So I would say generally, my experience is that they are just commodities on the whole. However, fighters treat people like commodities also. Fighters treat trainers like commodities. Alec Wilkie has trained, I don't know, 60 fighters. He's in contact with one of them.
Yeah.
As soon as they finish using him to train them, they don't want to know him anymore. So you have that. So you have a scenario where in boxing, and I'm afraid this is sad, most people, this doesn't include me, use everybody. The fighters use managers, stab them in the back. I've had a fighter tell me, for the rest of my career, I'll never leave you because you've been amazing for me. You've got me this, you've done me that, you've done me this, you've done me that. You've been amazing, I love you, I love you, I love you. Then he shafts me, right? So I've experienced it from the fighter. So now I care about, I think everybody knows I care about the fighters I do, because if I don't, I get rid of them. And if somebody steps out of line and does something immoral to me, they have to go. Yeah. Whether it be fighter, trainer, whoever it is, I won't do anything. We just had a discussion about something today, right? But the question one was, yes, I think they treat like commodities, but I think fighters treat other people like commodities as well. It's just a very, very horrible, nasty business most of the time. What was the second part?
I've deleted off my phone now. So, should fighters be saved from themselves by their manager, their trainer, anyone? Because I know that Eddie Hearn believes that a fighter shouldn't have a manager. Eddie Hearn believes that if you sign with him as a fighter, you do not need your manager. That's his belief. I've often thought that when you watch him on videos, in interviews, and he's talking often as if he's doing both. I mean, I remember once somebody asked him a question about Frank Buglioni, as if he made the decision. Well, he doesn't make the decision. I make the decision with Frank. Yeah. And his dad and Don Charles. But he was answering as if he was Frank Buglioni's manager, but he wasn't. He wasn't even the promoter at that time. Yeah. So the point is, but if you remove the manager, a good manager, because you move some managers, won't make no bloody difference because all they care about is a percentage. But if you remove a good manager, that manager is the protection zone, which stops the fighter doing something stupid. So I can understand why promoters would want to remove that layer of manager away. Yeah. Why do you think Nicola Adams wanted me as manager? She wanted that buffer between herself and the promoter. I wasn't saying the promoter's done anything wrong to her, because I haven't, but she wanted that element of somebody in between who would be the buffer so that she could help make the right decisions. And I believe that's important. But the promoters generally believe that's not important. I'm not surprised they believe it's not important, because it serves, the promoter generally would serve them if they only had to go to the fighter, because most fighters will fight anyone. And you need somebody, a voice of reason, to say, hold on a minute, let's look at where we are and what we're doing and where we're going. Yeah. Okay.
Does that answer that, I think?
That makes sense. Right, we'll move on to Frank. You just mentioned him.
Yeah.
Frank Buglioni is fighting over in Monaco. Something you alluded to the other week, but...
No, we had 2 offers, right? We had the Anthony Yard offer was real.
Of how much? Because
it wasn't the number they said.
Okay.
Wasn't the number they said.
Yeah, because there's various figures that have been floated.
But it wasn't the number that keeps coming up. It wasn't far off that number, but it wasn't that number.
It wasn't, yeah, okay.
It wasn't that number. But it was a good offer, and a fair offer, and it was a genuine offer. So, but we had the offer to fight in Monaco, and we had to look at the we looked at the 2 offers.
Wasn't there also a third option as well, which I don't know if you're allowed to say or not?
Yeah, probably not allowed to say.
No, fair enough.
So we had the 2 offers.
Anyway, what about the 2?
So we'll sit here, and the second offer was Monaco. Now, the question was, the Monaco fight, to fight Anthony Yard, you're fighting for a WBO world ranking, aren't you? I suppose because he's got number 2 world ranking.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you're almost Warren fights, then you fight for WBO ranking. Or something.
We didn't go into the contractual details, but you'd be fighting for that. You would be fighting there, and he also had the opportunity to fight the Chinese guy live on Sky, who already is a WBA champion.
Yeah.
And like Frank says, I've been down this WBO route before. He wants to be fighting for the he wants to get ranked by the bigger bodies, and if he wants to fight the Chinese guy, if the Chinese guy is like considered to be one of these Chinese up and coming stars, but Frank said if I'm going anywhere, I'm going to beat him. I would rather do that because my sights are higher than fighting in the WBO down the WBO route.
Yeah.
Which to him, I understand he's fought for a WBO world title. He was WBO European champion. He wants to fight for the other. He wants to get the other. If he's not good enough to beat the Chinese guy, he's not good enough to beat the Chinese guy. But it feels that was the better option for him. And I'm not going to discuss the money differences because he could be offered. It could be more money for the Chinese guy or less than the Chinese guy. I don't feel you should band around figures in public.
No.
So I'm not going to discuss what the money is. But on balance of what was on offer and the money that was on offer, the fight in Monaco was more beneficial to him.
So how then, because the guy Meng, the Chinese fella, what is he, 14-0?
With 11 stoppages?
Yeah, something like that. So how do you go about between yourself, Frank, Don Charles, weighing up like this fight? Because clearly there's YouTube and you can get on there and have a look. But is that something that you then, the 3 of you have to go and sit in a room together and work out, you know, he looks like a killer on that tape, or...
Yeah, we spoke, we didn't look at it at the same time, we all looked at it separately. He's a decent fighter, Fanlong Meng, but it's very clear that we didn't get down to contract talks regarding the Yard fight. We don't know whether we would have had to have signed options, rematches or anything like that. We don't know, we haven't been down there. So we just had a number. So we may have gone down and had to sign something away we didn't want to, we don't know that. Yeah. This offer is clean, it's a 1-fight deal. We're a free agent after this fight. If we win, we could do Yard maybe. Yeah. But we're a free agent after this fight. They're trying to make Buatsi against Hosea Burton for the British title fight. That's the third option, right? So we offered Buatsi.
Okay. I was thinking of a fourth option there.
There's so
we'll talk about it after.
Yeah, there's so many different offers come through all the time. Hosea Burton fight we were discussing.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking.
Yeah, Hosea Burton we were discussing, but I think Matchroom are more interested in doing somebody against Buatsi. So I think, but we never got again. I received the offers. We get the money side of things. And we know exactly. I know we offer different variations of money for different fights, and different fights mean different things. So I think there were 4 options we had if you look at it in total: Buatsi, Burton, Fanlong Meng, and Yard.
I don't want to be disrespectful to Frank in any way whatsoever, but it's clear to see Matchroom are heavily invested in Buatsi. He's the next phase coming through, isn't
Correct.
he? So they clearly want somebody that, I guess their priority is to get Buatsi through those stages.
Correct. But that's obvious, right? So in that position, whoever fights Buatsi is doesn't mean they are going to lose. The plan is for them not to win.
Yeah.
So whether it be Frank or Hosea Burton, then they are expected to lose to Buatsi.
Yeah.
Right? That's what's supposed to happen. Doesn't mean they will do. From our point of view, we're not really worried about what Eddie Hearn's agenda is, with all due respect to him. We've got our own agenda, so we've got to pick the fights that we feel are most suitable. And I think when we looked at the fight, it was a spin-up between It was the decision was between Yard and the Meng fight.
Okay.
The Buatsi and the Burton fights, for various reasons, and you can obviously, because fighters need to be rewarded, right, financially. So you look at how much money, who it's against.
The risk reward.
Risk reward. So they were just those fights were just a non-starter for what was on offer. So it became the Anthony Yard, which I didn't think was a bad opening offer that we had. It was an opening offer.
Yeah.
Was fair, and the Fanlong Meng fight was fair, and we've gone for the Fanlong Meng fight.
Yeah.
Frank likes southpaws. That made a difference. He really feels comfortable fighting southpaws. So
Which is strange. Which
he's always stopped every southpaw amateur and pro.
Oh right.
So he actually feels really comfortable fighting southpaws.
It's the opposite of what most people would say.
Yeah, he likes fighting southpaws. He feels it plays to him. Don Charles looked at the video. Thought, he's decent Fanlong Meng, to be fair to him, but made that call that. That was with the base of the money, what was at stake, the potential chance of winning, and what was on offer at the end. Yeah, that was the best fight for us at this stage.
Excellent.
So was it?
Yeah. So when's that? It's
24th of November in Monaco.
And do you go over with him?
I'll be going over. Yeah.
You went there with Chisora, didn't you, for the Caballel fight?
I think it'd be a lot more peaceful this year.
Is Don going to be there this year?
Yeah, he'll be there.
Right, good, excellent. That's,
passport issues last year. Last year wasn't the greatest experience of all time.
The learning curve.
And I expect it to be, and things I know where all the gyms are now, and I said to Frank, I know everything about what there is in Monaco, so I can make sure everything's sorted out.
You scouted it for him.
I scouted it for him last year, so we know exactly where we've got to go, what we've got to do, where we've got to be. So I've been there once, I can do it, so it's a lot easier for me this year. And obviously it'll be a lot less dramatic than it would be with Derek. which is obvious for everybody. It's not going to be.
Derek's social media is the best thing. His Instagram's the most mental. He should have his own reality TV show. But anyway, any new signings to talk of?
There are. We just haven't released them yet. We've got 5 to release. Yeah,
right.
We're going to start releasing them this week.
Phase them in.
5 new signings. And 2 very interesting. Well, actually, I've actually got 4 boxers to see, 2 of which are very interesting coming up that are well known to the boxing public. So we've got them to do, and 2 up and coming people that are quite exciting as well. So we're still getting our inquiries, and we're still looking after everybody and doing the right thing by them. So that's great.
Any new fights that to be announced? I know there are ones.
Deion Jumah, Ossie Jervier for the Southern Area Cruiserweight title being added to this monster 1st of December strike card at York.
So that was one we were discussing last week that you couldn't announce.
Only got approved today.
Yeah.
It took a long time. But bottom line is, what happened was Deion was due to fight Jose Lopez, who got injured. Ossie Jervier was due to fight Danny Cousins, who's pulled out for a 2nd time now on the 24th. So Ossie stuck without a fight. Deion stuck without a fight. We discussed it with Ossie. The point was, if he fights Deion, most people consider him to be the underdog, but he's definitely got a puncher's chance for sure.
Yeah.
But if he does lose to Deion, then he can come back and have another go in 6 months' time. There's no reason why not. So it's a no loss, because if he doesn't fight Deion, there's no fight for Ossie in December. So that means anything. At 37, he wants to have a go. So it's a great fight, and I know Ossie's very confident. And Deion is a class act, but we haven't seen in professional ranks anybody hit Deion back yet. And
we've not really seen Deion as a cruiserweight at any competitive level. He's he's returned as a cruiserweight, but he's not taken anyone that. No, there's a massive risk to him.
Deion is a super quality fighter. Ossie is a very game, hungry, tough man who hits hard. So I think it's a great fight. I mean, that card now.
Run through it.
Okay, we've got
Jack Hughes.
Southern Area title.
Yeah.
Against Ricky Little. Miles Shinkwin, Joel McIntyre, English title. Taylin Jones, Linus Udofia, Southern Area title.
Jordan Joseph,
Del Church, Fight Cup semi-final. You've now got Deion Jumah, Ossie Jervier, Southern Area title. And on the undercard, you've got a mouthwatering clash between Yusuf Kamari, the up-and-coming lightweight, against Dave Birmingham, who just derailed Anisu Twala, 7-2 former Southern Area challenger. Oh my God, best small hall show in many a year on the 1st of December. Yep. It's amazing. but the 17th of November comes first, and we've got that's the Wadi Camacho against Arthur Nickbo, English title, Ryan Walker, Commonwealth title, Ryan Walker, Michael Ramabalatsa, English title, and we're working on one more title fight, hopefully to get on that 17th of November show.
Can I touch on two things that came out of the board notices from last week as well? So Wadi Camacho Arthur Iqbal is a British title eliminator.
Got that sorted, that was
well
great.
as
Perfect.
Is it final or
no, just an ordinary? Okay. So I got that upgraded. This is all what I do behind the scenes.
Yeah, and then Taylor Jones Linus Udofia final eliminator for the English.
So I've got that upgraded. So that's what we work on all the time. If you notice, it's all.
So it's not just attaching a title; it's then attaching the title plus what else can you load into?
Yes, that's my job. And they think, where do I go from here? How do I do that? This is what I sit there and do. This is what people don't realise. I'm sitting there working out plans and strategies all the time.
Yeah.
And so Linus, after he wins this, will be mandatory for Reece Cartwright, who's English champion.
Reece Cartwright, what's he about?
22 and 1 with 13 stoppages.
Mouth watering.
We've got to get through the Taylor Jones fight first. Obviously.
Why is Reece, like, not being disrespectful, why has he not moved past that level? At 22 and 1, most fighters would have gone past the English title level. Why is he not?
He speaks to his manager.
Who is his manager?
No idea.
I don't even know where Reece is based. I know
he's up in the north, in the Midlands, I think. But
someone find out for me. I want to speak with Reece. Find out. It's not being disrespectful. It's just at 22.
I mean, what is a 22 and 1 kid doing as English champion?
Yes, that's what I don't understand.
It's crazy, isn't it?
What you gonna do? Just hang around defending the English until you get beat? Like he's 30 and 1 or something.
Just, I mean, yeah. I would be extremely disappointed if I had a 22 and 1 kid, and he was an English champion.
Yeah, you know, unless like you were 20 and 1, then you lost a couple, and you come back and win that English title.
He's won about 6 or 7 on the bounce.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I think he's won a WBC youth title or something along those. I don't know, but maybe the fighter's just happy, big ticket seller, happily selling tickets and fighting when he feels that he wants to fight. He's obviously a talented kid. You don't get that record without being super talented.
No, I say it's not being disrespectful.
And we haven't even looked at him yet to decide where we are with him.
Linus has a small job of getting the title.
I think it would be disrespectful for me to start looking at Reece Cartwright. I want to put Linus in the position that should he beat Taylor Jones, and I fully expect him to, that becomes an option for us.
Yeah.
There's also the point when it's not the only route forward after winning a Southern area.
It's true.
Look at Wadi Camacho. He's gone from Southern area to Commonwealth.
True. But yeah, I mean, I know Tay's confident of beating Linus, just as Linus is confident of beating Tay.
Makes a great fight, doesn't it?
Brilliant. Brilliant. Have you decided what's headlining that? How do you decide what headlines that?
I think the way I look at it, the headline on paper, the highest level fight is Joel against Miles. But the fight that the public want to see is Taylor Jones, Linus Udofia. What you've got to look at is, if you make the last fight, if people are watching that show, and this is no disrespect to anybody, are people going to wait for the Miles Joel fight? The casual fan who's going in there? Are they going to wait for the Taylor Jones Linus Udofia fight? I'd probably say more possibly there's a lot in it between Tay and Linus, who between them will sell probably treble the tickets that Miles would sell. Yeah. So whilst Miles, the English title has to be top of the bill, would probably not make that the last fight, would probably make the Taylor Jones.
Good luck whoever's making the poster for it.
It's a big poster now, isn't it?
It's like an A1.
Great fight, great card though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's brilliant all round. I've got some questions linked, stuff like that, from LPC123 on Twitter. These are his words, not mine. When Linus beats Tay, who is going to be his opponent for the English title?
That would be Reece Cartwright.
And where do you think the fight will be held?
Well, that would have to go to purse bid, so I don't know. The other thing is, it depends on, from my point of view, whether I get a TV broadcaster to take it.
Yeah.
Obviously, Linus is contracted to Haymaker because he's got a promotional deal, but they're not actually promoting at the moment. So, therefore, we're free to negotiate with any other TV network. And a lot can happen, because if you imagine, that would be March, April next year probably, maybe May next year, because he's mandatory, it doesn't mean the board won't let Reece Cartwright do a voluntary.
Yeah.
So we'll see what gets served, where it is, and what the options are. But
get through Tay first.
Get through Tay first, and then I'll do my job. But I'll always get the best option possible for Linus.
Tony Chambers, has Steve ever had to tell any of his fighters they're not ready for a fight, e.g. too early for a title fight? And if so, what did it do to the relationship? It's a good question, though.
I've never had a problem. I did one last week. I had a boxer last week, and he said to me he wanted to fight. You don't think you know the story, do you? But
no.
I'll tell you afterwards. But this boxer, I wouldn't insult the boxer will know who it is when I'm telling the story. So it's no disrespect to him.
Yeah, it's not respectful to keep it quiet.
Yeah, so I was told that these boxers wanted to fight this, and he gets beat. So I said to him, I said to his trainer, this is a suicide mission, you get beat. No, we want to do that. Are you mad? Want to do it? Okay, here we are, here's the fight for you. Made the fight in about 20 seconds. And then the boxer rang me and he said, he said he was listening to people outside, that's crazy, he will listen to me and do what he should be doing, and he doesn't want the fight. So I just said, you want it, in the end, you try and tell them, and if they don't want to listen, you feed them it. And then they go and have that fight, then they lose. And they will lose.
And you remind them of the conversation.
Well, there you go, that's what happened. So it doesn't cause any damage, but what you've got to remember, what people have to remember when they sign with me, and they're always told this, in boxing, managers, promoters will blow smoke up boxers' asses, right? Yeah. Tell them all the bullshit to sign the dotted line, tell them bullshit about how good they are,
where they're going to
do bullshit, they're going to do this, you're going to be a world champion and be worth 5 million and have a place in Los Angeles.
Run things in your hometown.
Bullshit. I just say it as real. So if people don't like the reality, don't sign with me.
Yeah.
Don't stay with me. But you're going to get the reality. If you're miles away, I'm going to throw you miles away.
Yeah.
So I have never had that cause a problem because I think boxers appreciate that I do tell them the truth.
It causes a bigger problem longer term if you don't.
But what I had done though in the past is when a boxer's wanted to do a fight, I've in the end let them do it, and it's always gone wrong for them. They've all lost.
Yeah.
And then I say, well, this is down. This is down to you.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Listen to me.
Paul Oldtime, what's the hardest decision you've ever had to make in the boxing world?
I don't know. That's a really good question. It's a really, really good question.
Resubmit next week, Paul. Give you a week to think about it.
Yeah, let me have a think about it, Paul, because I think that is the best question I've ever had. Because I can't think of the hardest, but I will come back to you next week when I've had time to think about it.
Alright, resubmit it, Paul, because I'll lose it.
I'll remember.
Alright, North Bank Bren, shout out for asking plans for Deion Jumah, which you touched upon. Sam Khan, how's the A side decided? Warrington has the belt, but Frampton has an entire country behind him. Plus he's Frampton. Or Khan versus Brook when he had the belt.
Well, the A side is the person who holds the belt, right? So, because that's determined by, if you're fighting for a belt, it's determined by the governing bodies. A purse split is recommended, isn't it?
Yeah.
Difference on different governing bodies. So obviously,
for a mandatory.
For a mandatory.
Not for a voluntary.
No, for what? But it gives you a thing. So if you were the champion, you're going to want to say, well, I want the higher side, because if this fight is, otherwise I'll force this fight to a mandatory. I won't do it as voluntary, I'll do it as a mandatory.
Yeah.
So if I was the managing their A side, you'd be wanting that percentage or do some form of deal. It's the promoter's job, like next to be Frank Warren, to drag the fights together and make sure they're both happy with the deals they set. But the A side always has to be the champion.
It's an interesting one though, isn't it? Because Frampton's undoubtedly the bigger name in the sport. It's not to say Warrington won't be in a year's time or two. If he beats Frampton, then...
But when you say A side, well, are we saying A side
financially?
Yeah, but then the point is, I think Frank Warren as a promoter, in terms of the rules, he's the A side. But if Frank Warren can do a deal where to get the fight he pays Frampton twice what Warrington gets, but Warrington's happy with his share, that's up to Warrington's people and managers or whoever is advising him to do that deal.
Yeah.
For me, I would want A side money if I was a champion.
Yeah.
So again, it depends on how good that manager is. Josh Warrington has a very good manager in Steve Wood. So I would imagine that Steve Wood would negotiate very well.
Yeah. Pay-per-view fight for you?
No.
No, I agree. What we got? Ramez Mahmood really enjoyed the box on the weekend. With Felix winning the Southern Area Eliminator, where does that put him? As a welter, I think we touched on this earlier, there's a lot in the mix with Congo and Jez Smith. Does Louis Green still hold it? Fun fights all round.
Louis Green ran from the fight. He vacated. He didn't want to fight them. So Green was mandated to fight Congo, went to purse bids, and this is my pet hate. Once it didn't go the way in the purse bid, he vacates. Yeah. Same as Josh Kennedy did with Michael Rambarasa. Yeah. He'll now get fined by the board and disciplined, rightfully so, wasting people's time holding careers up. So we've covered that. Congo, they don't want to fight each other, so which they should do, or now Mofai's got to try and move 2 fighters on. But we will not be supplying people that are not ready to them.
Yep.
So that's it.
Question from Sam O'Reilly at Fight Talk about Prosper versus O'Maison. Now Danny Connor has pulled out. That's been mandated, I believe.
That was my job.
Yep. So
as soon as Danny Connor pulled out, my job was to this is what's called good management. You manoeuvre Kay into the mandatory position because he doesn't want to fight Danny. He doesn't want to go through that all again.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a pull out. He thinks it can happen again. So, not that he's scared to fight Danny. If the board had not agreed to put Kay straight through, he'd have done rescheduled the Danny Connor fight. But he didn't want to reschedule something he had no faith in happening.
Yeah. When do you think we're looking at for that fight, and do you think it will be on a Goodwin show?
Well, it's going to purse bids. Purse bids are due on the 15th of November. It's all about the deal. It's all about the deal. If you don't reach a deal, they will want that fight up north.
Yeah.
Right?
He's Sheffield based, isn't he?
Sheffield based. They want the fight up north. We don't have great experiences going up north, but they will want the fight up north. So that may well be that it goes up north. So money will dictate who generates the most money, what Kay's prepared to take on a home show, what Amazon's prepared to take on a home show, what financial backing each people have got for each fight, how important it is to fight on a show. So I have, at this moment in time, I had a meeting with Kay and Xavier Miller on Saturday to discuss this. I've been speaking to Ryan Rhodes, who's Sam Amazon's manager, so we're in talks. I am sure they will put a very lively bid in to stage up north.
So this just reiterates what you were saying earlier about how it's easier when a fighter gets to those levels, if they're a ticket seller, if they've got sponsors, if they've got this, that and the other, to be able to support them in that purse bid. Because if Kay has none of those, and I'm not saying Kay does, I'm just saying if Kay had none of those, then there's very little
then
you
your
can
purse
do.
bid your purse bid will be low.
Yeah.
Wouldn't say you won't put a purse bid in, but it will be low.
Yeah.
And you will probably lose that purse bid.
Yeah.
But you can only win a purse bid or go for or actively seek to win a purse bid if you feel that you have either a TV promoter behind you, because we've had, if you imagine on some of our purse bids, we've had David Hay bidding, Sauerland's bidding before, so we've had TV promoters behind the bids. So it's whether I would have a TV promoter behind the bid, whether we bluff that we've got TV promoter, watch it if you like, and they bid more, we just do it to get Kay the higher purse.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is, are we going to bid? Are we going to make them feel they're going to have a high bid? Are they going to low bid? Who knows what they're going to bid? We don't know. They might be bidding low, they might be bidding high. So it's a game of bluff. It's very interesting. Purse bid scenario is quite fun.
Question from Pasha Ambrose. How come Steve goes on holiday and never comes back with a tan?
Because I don't really go out in the sun.
Final one from LPC123. If a fighter under Steve's management was ever caught taking PEDs or recreational drugs, would Goodwin Boxing seriously consider legal action against that fighter? As I assume there's a clause in the management contract stating the fighter must be PED/drug free.
Right, the answer is, as a management contract, no, but I know promoters that have sued boxers or tried or threatened to sue boxers for being on drugs and have tried to sue them. Yeah, so that I know. I'm not going to say who, why, but I know. Yeah. As a manager, no, you don't have any. What's your financial loss? You lose management fees. And to be honest, I wouldn't ever sue. I would never sue. Why would I want to sue a boxer for? It's just pointless. Only if they've done something really bad that's affected me. But yeah, for that, no. We've actually had a boxer in 2012. Ali Adams failed a drug test.
Yep. Was that the Audley Harrison?
He failed a drug test. I went with him to the hearing of UCAD at the time, and he was banned, and that was him. To be honest, that was the end of Ali Adams did come back. The question
Dominic Akinlala.
Yeah, no, the question was, when he wanted to come back, I still promoted him because Ali would say that like they all do when they fail a drugs test, there's always a reason, right?
Nasal spray,
whatever it may be. But listen, let's be honest. My view of it is, any boxer that's found that fails a drugs test is, I believe, is guilty, and normally they're probably very lucky they haven't been found with a lot more, because I think it's very hard to foul. I think that they're so clever now, boxers and trainers and whoever's doing it, that they avoid detection.
I think there's different layers to it. I think if you're at the very top end, I think if you fail anything, you're entirely culpable for it, because you should be having the money. I feel for the lads at the start of their career that if they went and took, how Dillian White took Jack 3D as a post-workout and then got popped for that. Yeah,
but that's slightly different. Ali Adams was done with high levels of testosterone caused by injections.
I mean, that's slightly different.
Now you're guilty, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Dillian White scenario.
That's an accident of taking a supplement out over the counter that he hadn't checked.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have the money at that. I know there are ways that you could do it, but I'm not saying everybody's got the time and the money where Dillian White was at that time in his career. But
I think that's fair.
If that happened at the very top level, then you're entirely guilty, because you should have people that were looking at that.
Yeah, and my belief is though, when you've got fighters at a high levels, that there is no excuse for failing a drugs test. And if you fail one, that's you done. I'm not interested in my brother give me a drink. I took an accidental thing of this. Somebody spiked me. Come on.
Who was it? Benavidez, the one that took cocaine.
Yeah.
And he came out and went, "Yeah, I did. Sorry." I thought, fucking hell! Like, you're a stupid idiot for doing that as a world boxing champion. But at least you just put your hands up and said, "Yeah, yeah, I did."
Unfortunately, when somebody fails now, I'll talk about drugs. Do you know one thing we should do one day? We should get Larry Olabamiwo here.
Ah, the doctor.
I'll get him to come up.
The medic.
We'll have a crack with that. Larry will tell you about drugs in sport.
Didn't he tell you, Cad, about drugs in sport?
But he didn't want to listen to him. But Larry was done for, I think it's right, he got done for 2 substances. And he said, "Why are you doing me for 2? I've took 13.
He was a chemist, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a pharmacist. He went and got a
Pharmacist,
pharmaceutical degree in chemistry, and he basically said, everybody else is cheating, the sport is not clean, therefore I'm going to cheat.
The Lance Armstrong approach.
Yeah, so I just go, but I'm not going to just cheat, I'm going to really cheat. And he got done, and he admitted the lot. But the thing was, is I actually really like Larry. I really like him as a person.
Larry's great.
And and I still speak to him. I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago. But the thing was, he just says to me, he tells me, and he says that so much is going on that's not detected. He said, and the drugs agencies, especially UCAD, haven't got the detection methods to catch everybody. And he says so many more about it. It really tells you really interesting stuff.
Don't have the budget as well, I suspect.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Well, you know how many boxers get drug tested on the small hall scene?
Next to none.
Next to none.
Yeah. I think that's about it then for this week. That's all the questions. Probably a quick shout out to Goodwin Boxing alumni Johnny Garton fighting for the British title.
Good luck to Johnny. Good luck to Johnny on Friday.
Lovely bloke, Johnny.
He's a really nice guy, and hope he does well. Hope he wins. It'd be great to see him win the British title.
All right, excellent. Good luck, Johnny, on Saturday at Brentwood, and we'll see you next week.